Hi, this is Ari from Palmeri Arts and Crafts, coming to you from Adirondack region in New York State. This is a knitting podcast where I talk about knitting and fibers, a little bit of my life and what's going on with my knitting business. So let's get right onto it. I don't have a lot of finished project or working project for this episode, but since I promised I'm going to do it monthly, and today is the end of May, so I really wanted to get this done and make some updates. So the first one is not something I worked on this summer, but I made this last summer using a vintage knitting pattern, and it's a doily pattern. It comes with 10 different patterns, and I picked the largest doily and put on I believe this hoop is made for macrame, but I put it on the hoop by threading the edge. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, so this thread is just going through the edge and then holding onto the loop. So I really love this pattern. It took really long time, but result was beautiful. Pattern is basically with a chart, and I'm used to with charts, so I didn't have any issue except this large hole right here. The chart says, well, it doesn't really say. It is written as yarn over 6 times, but then when you come to the next round, it says to knit 7 times, and I couldn't get my head around it, and I didn't know if I missed something. I tried to read some separate direction, and I still couldn't find out what I am doing wrong. So I went to Ravelry vintage knitting group, and I asked a question there, and one person said, I think this is supposed to be yarn over 6 times, but then when you come to the next round, you are going to pick up between stitches. So it's kind of like making one stitch. So pick up between stitches and then knit that extra stitch as a 7th stitch. So I did that, and it made all sense. Everything made all sense. I think it's written that way because between yarn over and regular stitches, there can be a gap. So by picking up yarn to make one extra stitch in between the existing yarn over and the next stitch is going to make it tighter. So that was a learning curve, but after that everything went so well, and it just turned out beautifully. So this is a pattern I got. It is called Patterns for the Art of Lace Knitting number 1. It is written by Rachel Schnelling, and I believe published date was 1957. I thought it's 1920s, but it's actually 1957. So I'm learning a little bit about vintage pattern, but I learned that before 1920s, the pattern wasn't even this detailed. Like the pattern we are used to with, it used to be very vague. It's just kind of like a direction to show knitter. If you do this way, you can make this kind of things, but it didn't have, at some point there wasn't any gauge, so you have to figure out the gauge, and then the pattern only comes with, like if you get the sweater pattern, the pattern only comes with one size. So with your knowledge, you have to adjust the size and everything, which is kind of crazy. But 1957 is actually much better pattern. It's more detailed. So this pattern was really easy to read, like I said, except that one spot. So yeah, I really like it, and there are 10 different doilies. So I made this big one, and I haven't made any of these. So hopefully I get to do all of them sometime soon. So yeah, that's my first finished project. Oh, and I found out when I start casting on from the middle. So this project started from the middle, and I usually like magic loop method. But for this project particularly, I like the double pointed needle with a bamboo, so the stitch will stay on the needle. And later on I switched to metal needle because I like the metal, very sharp, pointy needle. I use, what is that one? Shawl and higher needle. Those are my best. Those are my best favorite needles. But when it came to this pattern, I liked bamboo double pointed needle to start with, and then once I have a few stitches, then I transfer onto a circular knitting needle to do magic loop method. And then once it's big enough, then I can just knit in rounds in like a regular way. So yeah, that was another learning curve that I didn't know I actually do like bamboo needles. So that was my project from last summer. And next finished project is something I'm super excited about. It is the sweater I talked about last time. So I finished it. So hooray! I thought it's gonna take about 2 months, but I actually finished it. There was a little hiccup when I finished everything. So the armpit and everything, and I tried to put it on my son. This is for my youngest son, Ren. I tried to put it on his head. It stuck right there, and if you are on Instagram, you probably see those little short video of me trying to put it on him, and it stuck right there. And we are trying to my son and I were both trying to pull it down, and it still doesn't go through. So I gave up, but you can see in the video my head goes like this. Like, oh no. So I really wanted to shoot this. So right after that happened, I ripped all the stitches on the neckline and decreased rows a tiny bit. You can't really tell, tiny bit. And then I was debating if I should do tubular bind off like I did originally, but then I tried to do stretchy bind off just in case, because he got big head, like his arm is in a great length, it's fitting completely fine, his torso it fitting completely fine. So I thought I rocked it, but then when I tried to put it on his head, it stuck right there. So I did stretchy bind off, and of course it went through completely fine, but I don't know if I like it. It's just, it's a little floppy, and I don't like it. So I might take off this bind off and try to do tubular bind off. I think the problem last time was I pulled the yarn too hard, so it made it really tight. So I'll see if I can do it one more time and see it will fit him. So that's my next to-do list this week, to fix the bind off and see if it's actually going to work out. So that's my finished project. Oh, and I wanted to talk about this Colorwork. So last time I was talking about how I never held 3 different yarn at the same time. So this lighter color and light blue and dark blue, I have to hold 3 yarns in some of these parts, and that was my first time actually trying. I don't know, I'm still trying to figure it out, I think, but I tried to hold dominant color and the next color on my left hand because I'm continental knitter. So I tried to hold 2 yarn on my left hand and then another color on my right hand. I think it works okay, but I'm not sure if I like it. So I switched to one color, dominant color on my left hand and then 2 different color on my right hand, but I am not going to hold everything at once on the right hand. So one color is kind of draping toward me, and then the other color I'm actually going to work will be on my finger. I think I like it that way better, but I'll see. I would like to get one of those little gadget that goes around your finger to separate 2 different strands. So I'm going to get that and then see what's going to happen with my next sweater. Next sweater is going to be for my oldest son, so I am going to use same exact yarn and same exact color. So it really is experiment at this point for me. Oh, and I did when I did cast on, this is my regular long tail cast on is what I worked with first. But then I wanted to do tubular cast on, which I actually have never done it before. I think I avoided so long because it sounded really complicated, and which I still cannot get my head around it because I don't understand why you can do what is that called, provisional cast on and keep knitting, and without working on the other side you can just take off that waste yarn. It sounds kind of nerve-wracking, but it worked, and it looks, oh, I don't know if you can see, it looks much better actually. Yeah, there you go. Oh no, it's not showing, sorry, the focus is awful. There you go. So it looks much better than regular cast on, and it's pretty stretchy, so it works really good on the sleeve. So yes, this has been my experiment knitting for last 4 weeks. So there is that, and that's pretty much what I have from other designer, and I have 2 different finished project from my own pattern. So the first one is a Trivet, and this is made with macrame cord. So you can see it's really thick and sturdy, and it felt really weird because I usually knit with size 6, size 5, like smaller needle, and this one I used size 15, and it felt like I'm holding a baseball bat. But yeah, it came out really good, and I really like the texture, and this is perfect for Trivet. It's not thin material. So cord I used was Bobbiny macrame cord. It is made in Poland. So when I first tried to get this macrame cord, when I tried to click place order, the shipment was, I think it was like $25 or $30, something ridiculous, and I cannot pay so much shipping when I just need about 2 different cord for my business. So I tried to order through somewhere else in US, in this country. So I found out a really nice seller on Etsy who sell with the same price as the company who make this macrame cord, and the shipping was free. So I posted, the company name was Max and Herb. Max and Herb is the Etsy store name. So I posted that along with my pattern, but one of the persons said they don't have the cord right now. They don't have things listed on their shop. So I did a little research in case you're interested in. You can, literally, if you go to Etsy and type in macrame cord, you can see so many sellers. But some sellers takes time and some seller takes like a lot of shipping. And I found out All Yarn Drive, that's a store name on Etsy. They have so many different kind of macrame cord, including this cord, which is a braided cord, and along with so many different macrame cord. And shipping wasn't bad. I think it was like $7 or something, standard shipping, and shipping process time sounded like really short too. So if you're interested in, and if Max and Herb doesn't have anything on their shop right now, All Yarn Drive has a really good selection on the store. So I do highly recommend that store. So that's my finished project and pattern, and the free pattern is on my website, and I also made a follow along video, so you can just watch the video to make this trivet. And the next one is my second mason jar cover. So last episode I showed different mason jar cover. This is a second mason jar, second mason jar cover, which I'm sorry, lighting is not that great. There you go. Yeah, this is a second mason jar cover that I've been working on. Test knitting is pretty much done. I just need to put everything together, and then I'm ready to publish, and I will be making a YouTube video of follow along too. So make sure to hit subscribe if you haven't done so. Then you can get the notification when I have a next pattern follow along updated on YouTube. So this is my second mason jar cover, and the third one is coming soon too. So I'm very excited. It's been very nice working with test knitters. It was a great reminder how knitting is totally different. Even you're knitting same pattern, it can turn out totally different because we are not machines, right? Like, we are human. So every single person's tensions are different, and things comes out differently even following the same pattern. So it was a great reminder, and I really loved the conversation. And there's this lady hopped into the forum, and she mentioned, when I was struggling with the sizing, she mentioned, well, mason jar cover, even it's a pint size jar, the shape can be quite different. So she gave me this whole entire picture of different jar that is pint size jar, and she showed me different different shapes of pint size jar. That was kind of mind blowing. I always thought pint size jar is pretty much the same shape, but actually is not. So yes, if even you get pattern, it might not fit in the jar. I did put specific dimension of mason jar itself, which I used, which is a modern ball mason jar, which is 16 ounce with small mouth. So as long as you have a very recent designed mason jar, I think this cover is going to fit. But yes, I am really excited to see what other people will be able to make out of this pattern. So if you happen to make it, please share on Ravelry pattern page. So anyway, so these are the finished item. Okay, so for the working project whips, I don't have much this time, but I don't know if you remember, I talked about the lace shawl last time, and I only had this much, like a little tiny strip. Well, I thought it's gonna be a very slow project. Ended up, I did pick up the speed after I got used to with a lace weight yarn, and now it is almost done. Yay! So I'm very excited. So I was working on this strip last time, the edging, hold on, there you go, the edging strip. That's what I was working on. So I probably had about this much last month, but now I finished all the edge and then picked up everything and start knitting the body. And what I have is just this much at the end. Oops, this much at the end. And I actually did too much decrease, so I have to go back to actually go back a few rows to how should I say, it's not really well, fix the row, I should say. Just going back a few rows so I can actually follow the pattern after that. So yes, this is going to be my summer shawl. I don't think it's gonna be a great one to use when it's really humid. You know, like summertime when it's super hot and humid during the day, and when it comes to evening, it's still humid but cold. I don't think it is a good shawl to use when it's really humid, since it's alpaca yarn. So it's nice, soft, light yarn. But again, it's a fiber, so I think it's gonna stick to my skin, and I don't think I'm gonna like that. So I think it's still going to be the end of summer through fall shawl. But I will love it. I am so positive I'm gonna love this shawl. So anyway, this is my work in progress, which is almost done, and that's pretty much it right now. And last time I did talk about my spring scarf, entrelac scarf, and I mentioned about these 2 balls of yarn that I don't know what to do with this leftover mohair yarn, and 2 people actually commented and mentioned it to me. It would be a great yarn to make this item. So Yarn and Yarns, she or he, I'm sorry, I don't know, mentioned about sparkling cider hat. So I went into Ravelry and searched for the pattern name. It looks really pretty, it looks beautiful. So I thought maybe, because it sounds like very quick, you know, since it's a hat, it's not gonna take that long. But I don't know if I can say the username right, but Arezzo3, she mentioned about Birds of Feather Shawl, which I also went on Ravelry to check on the pattern. It is absolutely beautiful. It's kind of like a chevron shape almost, and has a finger yarn, like solid finger yarn, and so I should say a border of solid finger yarn and then border of mohair yarn mixed together, and it looked really beautiful. So, and I am not a huge hat person, like I know some people love hat, but even I live in North Country, I am not a huge hat person. I think because I don't like my head shape, and when I wear a hat, it just kind of highlight my head shape. That's how I feel, at least. So I do not like wearing a hat most of the time unless it's really necessary with the weather. So again, I think I'm gonna love knitting sparkling cider hat. but I have to be in the state of, okay, it's really winter, it's really cold, I need a hat, then I will knit it. But it's a warm season, and I don't know, I really wanted to have something colorful too. Like, I do like solid, natural, neutral color instead of colorful color. And this is pretty bright for me, like pretty bright color. So I just wanted to do something nice and bright, and not feeling like I'm knitting something for winter just yet, especially I'm knitting sweater for Christmas right now. So anyways, I was looking for finger weight yarn because I don't have many finger weight yarn, and I found out, let me see, I found out, oh, I did write it down, where did it go? Oh, here you go. Playful Day Yarns. That is a dyer's name, a brand name, Playful Day Yarns. I just found her on Instagram, and she has posted this beautiful, beautiful yarn. I hope I can post picture right here. Apparently made it specifically for the fiber shop called Fiber Circle Studio. So I did contact her and said, I love that color, and she goes, this is probably still available if you contact Fiber Circle Studio. And of course she tagged that Fiber Circle Studio person, and she said there are a few available still, so you can get them. So I just placed the order today, which I hope will be here this week or next week, so I can start working on it. But since this yarn is very bright, solid orange, I wanted to have something white background, but not like completely solid white. That would be a little boring, so I wanted to have some color in it, and I think this yarn in the middle would be really perfect color. So yes, that's what I'm waiting for, and as soon as it gets here, I'm going to cast on. I don't know about you, but I do not like doing any gauging if I don't have to, and shawl is one of them. It's just, I don't care if it's slightly oversized or slightly small, it doesn't matter to me. So whenever I knit scarf or shawl, I just skip the gauge. I know some people are like, no, don't do it, but I skip the gauge and straightly go to cast on. That's the beauty of scarf and shawl. So I cannot wait to have that beautiful yarn in my hand, and I'm sure I will be posting all about it soon. So that's my somewhat work in progress, not started yet. And the other one I am working on right now is this simple tee I like to make. So I am super new designer, and I haven't really done a lot of designing for sweater or anything wearable. I think the closest I got is scarf or shawl. So I really like to start making sweater and tee. And since it's summer season, I wanted to work with linen yarn, which I have never done before. Well, linen blend I have, but not 100% linen. And I hear a good thing about it, so I wanted to try. So my plan is to make a very simple light tee to put on top of my one-piece dress, to cover like shoulder area and upper arm. Sometimes I don't feel comfortable walking around completely exposed, so it's nice to have some cover-ups. And then of course in the evening when its temperature is going down, it's nice to have cover-ups. So I am going to make very first wearable design. That's my goal. And I got this yarn from Quince and Company, and it's so pretty. But when I first received, I thought maybe I made a mistake of trying to work with linen, because we are so used to with regular yarn from wool or synthetic fiber, and this is a very solid, I should say, and it's beautiful. As you can see, like nice sleek texture, so that was a surprise. I really thought linen yarn would be very matte and possibly shedding, but it doesn't have any shedding. When I was making swatch, it didn't shed at all, and it's got this nice sleek look to it, but it's definitely very hard and solid compared to the fibers we are used to with. So I wasn't sure if I want to keep going with this, but I made a swatch, and unfortunately, so what happened was yesterday I actually tried to shoot this podcast outside on my deck, since it's beautiful right now, and I was almost done, to be honest with you, but apparently my memory went down. My phone memory has been really full lately, and I think all the mother can relate. When you became a mother, you take so many pictures of baby, and just any pictures, any videos that you took, you cannot get rid of. And I am totally a picture hoarder right now, video and picture hoarder, so I am having a hard time getting rid of pictures and videos, and it just keep accumulating on my phone. So finally my phone said, okay, you don't have any memory, and apparently stop recording, which I didn't know that has happened until later on. So anyways, I finally spent money and got this SSD. I did some research and trying to find out what I can use to expand my phone memory, and in the cheapest possible way, but not a crappy quality that I'm going to lose memory. So I was in between Sunkist, I can't remember, SanDisk, portable SSD, and this Samsung T5, which apparently they have T7 too. T7 is better, is what I was told, but this was cheaper, and many people said this is amazing product. And I think it was like $100 for this, and the other was $120, and SanDisk was about $150. So I need to save as much money as possible for what I'm doing for my knitting business right now. So I got this $100 SSD today. I actually picked it up from local GameStop, never been to before until today. And I picked this up, and apparently iPhone does require some sort of connector, so iPhone plug, and I need a USB plug, and apparently you clearly you cannot plug USB cable to iPhone, so there is a little adapter which I ordered online, should be coming soon. So I did erase a bunch of memory. I put in a cloud space and make sure there is some backup in the cloud, and did delete a bunch of memory from maybe like from 2014 2013. So as soon as that get here, I can back up my cloud memory into this SSD device. Is that even called a device? I don't know, I'm really not tech savvy, but I can transfer to this. So I felt a little comfortable to do it. I deleted a bunch of stuff this morning so I can actually shoot podcast today. So anyways, I did that outside, and yesterday I brought all my stuff outside, and I don't know what happened. I had this big swatch for my linen yarn, and today I am trying to reshoot in my office. I cannot find it anywhere. I looked everywhere in the house, everywhere in the office, everywhere on the deck where I tried to shoot video yesterday. I cannot find it anywhere. So unfortunately, I won't be able to show in this video. But when I did the swatch, when I did the swatch, it looked very stiff, and stitch definition looked very, how should I say, it almost looked like it has a memory. So it was around the knitting needle, and when it comes off from the knitting needle, it still looks like that, shape, the knitting needle shape is still there, and it didn't look soft, it didn't look very comfortable to wear, but I was told it will get softer when you wash it. So I did wash it. I actually did hand wash just because I didn't have anything else to wash with at that moment. So I did hand wash and then throw in the dryer with a couple of towels with low setting. And actually the label does say machine wash cold, lay flat to dry, but many people when I did research said you can put in the dryer for low setting, and that actually makes the fabric really soft. So I did try that. It didn't shrink, which was, one scary thing as a knitter. When you're used to with wool or any other fiber, you're not supposed to put anything in the dryer, so that's against any rules that you learn. So I was a little worried to put in the dryer, but I did put in the dryer. It didn't shrink, and magic happened. It was so beautiful. It draped down, so before I washed and dried, when you hold on the hand, it kind of like stiff and like just sits on your hand. When it came out from the dryer, it just draped down nicely, and it was amazingly soft. I was very surprised. It was soft and sleek, and it just draped down nicely from my hand. So I am little bummed I couldn't show in this video, but I'm sure I will do more update as I do my designing, and fingers crossed that the tee I'm trying to make is coming out nicely. So yes, that's pretty much all I got. It's not really work in progress. Well, it's kind of a work in progress actually. I am going to do my very first knitting class locally, face to face, and it's a very first class. I am honestly a little worried and nervous about it, but I'm working on creating how to start and what to teach first. So yes, I am trying to establish the class right now, and also trying to make a video what I talk, like same thing I'm going to talk in the class, but I like to make a YouTube video. In that way, when I do the face-to-face class, you're not gonna remember everything in one class, one session. So I was hoping to hand out the link to people who came to the class, so when they go home and try to knit and cannot remember how it worked, then they can get on the YouTube video and be able to replay things that they learn in the class. So that's a big work in progress for me right now, and I have a feeling the end of June, I don't think I'm going to have a lot of projects to show, but we'll see what will happen. I will continue creating the content and hopefully meet more amazing people, which I met few people through YouTube, and I was very excited. So thank you so much for commenting and letting me know who you are. I really appreciate it. And today is the last day of May 31st, and May has been a mental health awareness month. If you do not like listening about depression and all that talk, then maybe this is a time to stop this video. But if you're interested in, I had a lot of feeling about if I should share this on YouTube or not, but I am going to share a little bit of my experience. I personally did suffer quite a bit with depression, anxiety, all of that. I'm not going into detail just because everything what happened in the past is also affect other people, and I know people around me is not, mainly family, are not ready to share openly about anything that happened in the past. But let's put it that way, when you have if you're young and you are living in a family, you feel like whatever happening in the household is a completely normal thing. And if that's something not present, then young children tend to feel like they are not doing good enough. They have to do something better to make parents happy or siblings happy, and that's where I fell into when I was younger. And I didn't have anybody to talk to. Regular high school, middle school, everyone goes through a hard time with friend and what's going on at school. To me, yes, there were hard things happening, but I didn't have anybody to talk to. Like, I cannot go home and talk about it with parents, or I didn't have anybody particular to go to. So basically, whole entire my life, I bottled everything up until exploded 2 years ago. I am in mid-30s, so that's quite a long time. And to me, I am becoming older and just grow up and let it go. But I was very happy to see my therapist and my psychiatrist. There is actual proof that when you have certain trauma, you will stuck at that state. So let's say if you have trauma from when you were 12, your mental is basically stuck at that place, and it is nothing to do with you are not growing up or you are not letting things go. So that was a big relief for me. The other thing I always felt was when I was in depression, I just don't feel like doing anything. Even knitting has helped a lot. Knitting has helped me ground, and when I had a really hard day at work, it works very well to kind of calm my mind. But I was beyond that state, unfortunately. And when you're depressed, you just don't even want to touch anything. You don't want to get up from anything. You don't want to face anything. And that turned into a very vicious cycle, because I myself felt like I am being lazy. I am a lazy person. I need to get up. I need to do more. I need to get everything done. I need to make things perfect. So that was part of the thing. It was very hard. I didn't have anybody around to tell me that you're doing okay, you're doing great, especially when you need some most when you are in high school or middle school, when everything is very tough. So yes, basically I bottled everything up until age of 32, and everything kind of crashed on me. That year in 2019, I finally decided to seek help. So I got psychiatrist, I got therapist. I was seeing both of them weekly, which I had 2 appointments every single week. Unfortunately, I still went into a major crisis, and I ended up in a hospital for 2 weeks. I am forever grateful with the staff member there and the psychiatrist I met. He was right on. He didn't sugarcoat anything. He was just right on the point. And I felt I can trust him enough to talk about hard thing I never mentioned the entire time. And I feel bad for other therapists and psychiatrists because that's something I should have shared, but I wasn't ready. So I think I was meant to be in the hospital, lock everything out. Literally, you cannot have any contact with anybody, no cell phone, nothing. You just in the space to work everything in that space in the psychiatric ward. So that was, I guess, meant to be. It helped a lot. I could see so many things in my life, and while I was in there, things I thought is something has to be in this way is actually not in, actually doesn't have to be in that way. I thought I was stuck at current situation. I thought I was stuck at the job I did enjoy at some point, but it was not my 100% passion for me, and it was a very hard field to start with. It was a veterinary medicine, so anybody who is in there, you know what I'm talking about. And it just didn't work out for me, but I thought I have to support my family. I have to keep working that job. So I basically felt stuck, and by the time I crashed, I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea who I am. I had no idea what I want to do. So I think being in the hospital was meant to be, and I could see so many things that I didn't see. And I recovered. 2 years later, now I am in front of the video, and I'm in camera and shooting video, which is, I could not imagine 2 years ago for doing this. So I think things are meant to be. But anyways, I'm talking about this not because I want you to be sorry. I want you to be, oh, I'm sorry you went through this. I'm talking about this because I went to get the help in 2019 because somebody close to me, somebody from college shared her story, which I never expected. Other people having same issue as I am, and I felt like I'm not alone, and I felt like it's not crazy. I'm not crazy. I felt like I am not being weak or drama or whatever the word you like to use. I felt like it's okay to step in that office to get the help. So if you happen to be watching this, and if you are in the dark state, please go seek help. You can dial the number, talk to the people. You don't have to see them face to face, or you can step into the office. It's not bad once you go through the first appointment, and they have been a great help for me. So please go find help. Anyways, sorry it went well. I'm not gonna say sorry. I shouldn't be sorry about this. That's another thing. I shouldn't be sorry about talking about mental health, because I know there are so many people suffer with this PTSD, anxiety, and depression. So this is May's podcast, Mental Health Awareness Day. I am hoping to make some items that can support veterinary field, because it's a number one suicide occupation, unfortunately. So I am hoping to design something that proceed will go to a organization to support vet and vet assistant, technician, whoever in the veterinary field. But that is to come later on. Anyways, thank you for sticking around until the end and listening to my life story and all of the knitting stuff that I wanted to talk about. I will see you next month. You have a good June. Bye bye. Happy knitting.